Hi guys, and welcome back. I wanted to make a video on this because I know it's holiday season, and maybe by the time you're watching this might not be, but I'm going to talk to you guys about several different welders that actually are better and cheaper than Harbor Freight. I'm talking about Harbor Freight Titanium. That is their cheapest good welder they have there at Harbor Freight. These two right here compare to the actual Vulcan models that are near $1,000, and they are actually cheaper. I believe both of these are cheaper, and they have specials right now, but maybe by the time you look at it, they have sales going on. You know, it might be different at that time, but right now these two compare to the Vulcan that's near $1,000, and they're cheaper than the Titanium. So I'm going to go over a few of them, the features of each one, and I'm going to talk to you about what each one is a little bit different than the other. This is a plasma cut over here. We're going to talk about that later, but I wanted to show you this because this thing is a deal. It's amazingly cheap. And I'll put links to the descriptions for all of these so you can kind of look at all the different prices. If you want, I can put the review videos for each one, a link to those in there so you can watch the entire review, which will have welding demo and all that other stuff in it. And you could watch those if you want to really get the details of the machines, or watch other guys' reviews on them as well. Whatever. They're all really good and really, really cheap. Even this Yes welder over here and this Vever machine, which is absolutely dirt cheap and amazing for the price. I've been using this thing for a while. I've been using it as my main machine. It's kind of dirty. I've been using it a lot because it's so cheap. I just can't believe how well it works for the price. This thing's between $250 and $300. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. It's a basic machine. It has automatic feed, of course. It has a burn back knob to be able to help burn back situations. It does stick welding. It's a three machine. It does all three things: stick, TIG, arc, and MIG. I guess that's four. Is that stick? No, that's all. That's three. Stick, TIG, and MIG. Sorry, three function welder. You do need both gases to be able to do it. It has a TIG torch that comes with it. Nothing beats this thing on the cheap. So if you're just new to welding and you just want the cheapest thing you can get to get you in the game, this one here will do it. And it welds nice. I play with it a bit. It's not the best welder, but it's good enough to get the job done. And you can have a lot of fun learning, playing with this one. You can weld sheet metal, you can weld thick steel with it. But the best part about it, again, is it's the price. It was at one time, I think, $259. They have a MIG 250. They have a MIG 270, which is about 20 bucks more. The 250 does everything the 270 does. I've welded with them both. I really couldn't tell a difference much, other than maybe the 270 would do thicker steel. I didn't even try using thicker steel with it because, you know, I didn't even have .030 wire. I've been using a .026 with it. It doesn't come with a .026 wheel. It does not come with a gas regulator, so you have to buy that separately. But it's still dirt cheap. The downside to this welder is the ground cable is only about 6 feet long. So the ground cable's kind of short. Okay, something you could fix later if you just wanted to get into the game. This is the machine right here to do that. Again, it comes with the TIG and MMA stuff to be able to weld everything. Comes with it. Next one up, Meg is a Yes welder. It does not come with a TIG torch, but it does multifunction machine as well. All of these do. Those two also do aluminum without a spool gun. The Vever does not do aluminum. It does not have setup for a spool gun. So that's the only disadvantage to it. It's just a great machine though for welding steel, sheet metal, and stuff like that. So next one up, we got Yes Welder. Good thing about the Yes Welder is it has a multi-function setup where you just put in the thickness of the steel. So with the settings here, you'll just put in the thickness of the steel, okay, and it does all the settings for you. So you don't have to fiddle with knobs. So if you're really just very new and you don't know anything, it's all the thickness of the steel is in millimeters. So it's a little bit different. It doesn't go by the gauge of the steel. You have to go by the millimeters thickness, and you just put that in there and pull the trigger. It does a really tight button on sheet metal. It's very easy to use, very easy to set up. Just getting through the little learning curve of this, definitely going to watch the review video on it if you're interested in that. It is, I'm going to say, I can't remember the prices on it, but I think it's in between $300 and $400 range. So it's a little more than the others, but it does have automatic settings. So all you do is put the thickness of the steel in, and man, it is spot on with the settings. I tell you, I used the settings on it, and I was really impressed with how easy it was to do a perfect button with that welder. Same with this one, except for it does have automatic settings. I couldn't figure out how to get them to work. These two machines are very similar. They're almost exactly the same. They both do aluminum. They both do steel. This one comes with an aluminum liner. This one doesn't. You have to buy the aluminum torch separately. So neither of these do come with a gauge setup. Neither does this one. It does not come with a gauge. In fact, none of these come with gauges. All right, none of these come with gauges. You don't get that with any of these ones. They're only about $20 to $30 on Amazon. So you can buy them on Amazon. They're real cheap for the gauge for one of these setup. You can either get this style, which is a little bit more than the other, or you can get the one like I showed you on the other machine with the little ball that goes up. Those all work fine. Either one you can get for about $20 to $30 on Amazon. So anyway, back to these two machines. They both have very, very, very similar setup. They have very, very, very similar settings. They both will weld in aluminum without a spool gun. What you do need on both of them is you need to use, this one comes with a liner that you transfer out of the torch. Okay, you move it, you slide the older liner in, and then you can just put an aluminum roll of aluminum on it and hook it up to regular straight argon gas, and you can weld aluminum with it, right? Without using a spool gun. Really handy if you ever have to do any aluminum. So this one does that. It has an aluminum setting in it. You just set it up, go to the aluminum settings. It does a great job. And because it does aluminum, it also has a lot lower voltages that you can go down to. So it'll even weld thinner steel than even the other two that we had here. So this thing welds, I mean, sheet metal, amazing. Both of these are, I'm going to say both of these are exactly the same in this feature. They both weld aluminum or steel amazing. You can get the tightest buttons I've ever made, the smallest little welds that penetrate all the way through. I welded 22 gauge with both of these, but welded 22 gauge, and I was able to do so almost perfectly with no, you can even set it up where you could do all your staggered welds, and you could do everything with the tightest little buttons you'd ever seen, and without warping the steel, even if you're really careful. Now, the difference between these and Harbor Freight, the Harbor Freight titanium, when you pull the trigger to do a little spot weld, the gas keeps running. None of these welders that I've showed you today, the gas keeps running. It turns off right when you let off the trigger, maybe a half a second after, which is fine. Harbor Freight goes like 2 seconds after, so you waste a lot of gas with the Harbor Freight titanium. That was one of my big pet peeves with that machine. It was only a 140. These are all 200s, 250s, way more amperage. That's a 205. The other one's a 250. They're all way more amperage than the other. They'll do thicker steel. And so you just get a lot more for your money. Okay, so I really like this one. It was on sale just over $300. This one's about between $300 and $400 right now. And it has a few more features. So it's not like it's not a really good deal. It's, you know, they're both really good deals. The features that are nice on this one that are different than that one are, they both came with a lot of feed rollers. If you noticed, a lot of these are like 10 bucks a piece. Came with a bunch of those. So a lot of different sizes. They all have a all metal feed system, just like the Harbor Freight. They have all take a full spool of wire. None of these machines I show you, I don't even look at one. If it only takes a small spool, no thanks. It has to take a big spool of wire and gas for me to, and have a metal feed system for me to even look at it. I don't look at any other ones. But what's nice about this welder is it does have a light inside here. So when you open this door, you have a nice little light. So if it's kind of dark out and you're trying to feed your wire in, you can see really good. That is something that only this machine has. I don't think this one does. This one, no. No, it doesn't. It's a little more, it's like a simpler version of it. This is like a deluxe version. That was a simpler version. You pay about $50 or $60 more for this machine, but you get a little bit more as well. It does have, you know, like the double latches on the door. You know, it's just a little nicer looking. The torches are very similar. These are a little bit nicer. I want to say this one is a bit nicer than the other. If you can see the handle on that's a little nicer. And this one's a little bit kind of a cheaper one. It's a real more basic type of thing. It looks really kind of neat, but it's definitely not quite as nice. It's, you know, you get what you pay for, guys. You pay a little more, you get a little bit more. So anyway, these are both amazing machines, super cheap. I think if you can pull the trigger and pay a little bit more, if you're not too tight on your budget, one of these two would be a longer purchase time. You know, you could buy it and keep it longer. So you'd be happier with one of these. I don't know. This one says it's a 250. This one's a 200. That's plenty of amperage either way. I don't really know. They both have, it's a synergic mode. So you can do it in synergic mode, which is actually some sort of a automatic setting type of thing. I couldn't figure out how to do it on either machine. So if you played around with it, maybe you could figure that out and do that. They both will do, both these machines will do TIG welding. Both of them will do arc welding. I think they both came with arc welding stuff, but neither of them came with TIG torches. So, and the TIG welding that you do with this is a strike and arc TIG type of thing. It's not a high frequency where you just step on the pedal and it automatically just flames up. You have to kind of tap it on the metal, get it started, and then it works. This will work okay. Same as the Vever. That one's a real basic arc welder. So, and again, these are deals that are going on right now. Right now, these things are special priced. Every single one of these. I don't know about this. I'm not sure what the price is, but this thing is the cheapest plasma cutter that has a, I forget what it's called. It's a hot start mechanism. So you pull the trigger. You can be not touching the metal. You can be just like right here. Just hold this thing right here. Pull the trigger. Bam, bam. And it'll shoot a flame out of there. And what that's good for is, I forget what that's called. But anyway, you go ahead and you can pull the flame out of there. And what that's good for is if, let's say you have a lot of paint on something you're trying trying to cut through, you can burn through that so that you can get a good connection and then start your cutting. Nothing in the price range. I think this was in like the $200 range. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was dirt cheap. Nothing is in that price range that has that feature. So this Best Arc plasma cutter is another amazing deal. So if you're looking at that kind of stuff, welders, plasma cutters, and stuff like that, anyway, these are ones to really look at that are cheap and that beat Harbor Freight. I mean, I love Harbor Freight, you guys. I go to Harbor Freight all the time. I buy tons of stuff. I bought the titanium welder from there. I was happy with it for a long time. And I used it for a while, but guess what? I gave it away to keep one of these machines because they work better. They work better than the Harbor Freight and are cheaper. So that just says something right there. And again, like I said, I bought the Harbor Freight because my other welder went down. My old Century analog machine went down, and then I found out how good these inverter welders work. And when I found that out, I still have my old Century unit. It's underneath these floor mats here. And it's a Lincoln machine. You know, it's a really good machine, but it just doesn't work as well as the inverter welders do. And this one for less than $300 outperforms that machine. It's just, I mean, that machine works great for when you're doing production welding where you're just kind of just going at it. It welds really fast. It welds really hot. But these ones here, honestly, this machine right here, I can even do anything I can do with that and probably do it just as fast and just as good. And I'm gonna, it's tiny. It doesn't take up half the space. And actually, the welds grind easier with inverter welders. So that's it for this, guys. Hopefully that helps you make a decision. Maybe you can find a good deal. I'll talk to you in the next one. Please like, share, and subscribe.